Welcome to Whom It May Concern Hood Professionals. I am your host, AP, here to guide you through the next 11 months of building sound strategies to showing up as your authentic professional self each time you are on the clock. And at some point I was going to say, well, I understand we aren't always our best all the time. No. I welcome you not to form a disclaimer about showing up as your authentic self this year. I want to encourage you to always choose your best self in every situation, no matter how short it is, no matter how big it is, no matter how overwhelming it can become. It is my sincere prayer and well contrived thoughts that you always have the opportunity to show up as your most authentic and best professional self. I think at times when we make concessions for ourselves as to why we can't be who we truly need to be, it allows us to fall into patterns and routines that don't serve us well. My goal with this podcast from now and moving forward is to help to be a change agent in curating a community of professionals who are going to change the trajectory of what we now view and operate in as workplace environment, work-life environment, work-life balance, the direct correlation between our home life and our work life, and how we can break those you know how people like to say generational curses. I mean, because in that retrospect, I think that we also have to think of work as generational curses, because our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on were used to having to deal with certain type of behaviors at work. And they did it because they felt like, hey, I got to put food on the table. I got to provide for myself. I have a family to take care of. Whatever treatment, even though they know that it wasn't right and it was wrong and it was deplorable, they were willing to endure some things in order to provide. And what I'm saying is that we no longer want to have to endure behaviors or certain things to be able to provide for ourselves. Within these past 2 years with COVID and all that has come along with it, COVID exposed our structural values when it comes to work. It exposed a lot of things where we saw that remote work could be done for a lot of positions and could have well been implemented ahead of time, and it allowed people to be able to spend more time with their families and still get the work done and still perform at a top level. And then it also exposed those people who all along when they were in the workplace, they weren't necessarily giving their all or being their best self. And now it put them on a stage where they were magnified, and they either had to step up or they had to be, corrected or redirected. It is my goal that with the past 2 years, mental health became a major topic for all, because at one point in time, I think mental health was more of a cultural thing, more like a specific ethnic group. I don't even know if you can call it, but that's what I'm going to call it, more of like a racial group, or a group of persons who were able to fairly articulate mental health and how it related to their work-life balance or even in their home balance. And with COVID and it hitting, it became, and I don't even want to use the term buzzword, because mental health is serious. It is something that has been occurring for years. it just now became something that was spotlighted where people saying, oh, okay, this isn't just something that people use when they want to get out of doing something. No, it is real and it matters, and it's hitting closer to all of us more than it probably ever has in the past. And so with that being said, we have to start facilitating and curating environments, workplace environments that allow for positive mental health to flourish. It is important that we fill these spaces that we call our jobs with positivity. And I think the best way for that is to set intentions. One thing for me this past year, I got really good at writing down my goals and being able to manifest or bring those things to light. And one thing that I noticed, I was like, anything that I personally write down, I take the time to write down and say that this is what I want to do. I tend to focus on those things. And if I find myself in a situation and I'm asking myself, AP, how does this, what you're doing, this moment, this person, this thing, these emotions, these thoughts, these actions, how do they align with the things that you say that you want to do? And it has better helped me to make choices that better align me with what I say, what I want to do. And I truly feel like if we were to set the intentions of our workday when we wake up each morning, and I'm saying workday, and later on in it we'll get into it not just being about your workday, but even just in your life. But if we would set the intention when we get up each morning that we're going to show up authentically and as our best selves and positively, and that no matter what comes, what obstacle comes, what confrontation comes, what issue comes, what problem comes, we are always going to choose the response that is steeped in peace, understanding, solution, and positivity. Because there is never going to be something that arises that you can't find a way to positively reflect upon it and to arrive to a solution that is conducive and not combative. Because there is a difference. And it always starts with a choice. If we come together, even as a team, which I think is very important, like how in school you have to do stretches, but when you're in PE before you get into play, the body has to warm up. I feel like it's the same way on a team atmosphere. Coming together, setting the intentions for the day, especially if you work in a place where there's a lot of departments and they all intercorrelate with one another, so you have to depend on each other pretty much for like, I need you to do this part before I can do this part, and so on and so forth. I really feel like staff meetings should be that place where we come together to set the intention. And if there is an issue that arises, that we take more of an approach of, okay, how can we come together to make things better? That is my goal with this podcast and going forward. Everything that we're going to talk about this season, in season 3, yes, this is our 3rd season of To Whom It May Concern Hood Professionals. In season 3, we are going to delve into how our work life and our home life correlate, how we show up, and most importantly, why we show up the way we do, and why we show up the way we do truly focuses on what is it that we need to focus on to change how we're showing up. Because some of us are great at work, great, we're awesome, but when we get home, it's a different story. Well, maybe we're not the nicest people, maybe we're not the most open, the most personable, the most approachable, and there is a reason to that we can delve deeper into. And then you have some of us at work, we are awful people. We are awful. But at home, we're sweet as pie. We're nothing but love. So then we need to understand, why is it that I'm going into this space where essentially no one owes me anything, didn't birth me, didn't owe me any money, isn't a parent, isn't a sibling, and I am operating in a way that is not conducive to positivity, that is not conducive to teamwork, that is not conducive to positive reinforcement. Because I know that there are some persons who get a kick out of going to work and just being a complete butthole. And it's disappointing, because never should one enter into any space with intentions to prevent someone from operating as their best selves. No, you can say, well, Audrey, we have to take responsibilities for our own person. Most definitely. I always say, that's why I say, no matter what we come up against, we have a choice in how we choose to operate physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, right? We have the choice. But also, persons who tend to poke, who tend to instigate, also have a choice. And I would just like for us all to learn how to make the best choices possible. If you're finding yourself that maybe at home your role is diminished as of who you are, and maybe when you come into work you have a title that has some authority, that has some power, that has some say-so, perhaps you're wielding what you're not being able to flex at home, and you're over flexing those muscles at work. And so you're not that person that people want to come to. You're not that person that people want to vote Employee of the Month, because your approach is off. You're holding on too tight, because you're transferring energy that you have at home into the workplace. And this is the thing. And although I do empathize, here's the thing. Those people at work don't know that. So for you to bring that into the workplace is unfair. And it's a narrow point of view that the rest of us aren't seeing, don't understand, because it's personal, right? So again, if it's personal and you're in a professional setting, it doesn't belong. And we know that life happens. That's something different. But if you're not getting that respect at home, that means that a conversation needs to be had in that space, so that you can advocate for yourself in that space. Advocate for your personal issues in your personal spaces. Advocate for your professional issues in your professional spaces. And in each space, doing your best to be your best, meaning always looking for a way to be conducive rather than combative. With this new season, I'm looking to implement some subscription-only things. I'm looking for a way to have you all more engaged and more involved in more ways that we can see one another's faces and have these conversations, because I really want us, each and every last one of you as listeners, to be a person who is willing to be a change agent for your work environment. I'm not asking anybody to kiss ass. I'm not asking anybody to lay down. I'm not asking anybody to allow people to walk over them. But what I'm saying is, I want you to show up genuinely and authentically. And if you're saying, well, being super aggressive and disrespectful and mean-spirited is you being your authentic self, then I'm going to challenge you to do some of the following. This is for all of us. I'm challenging each of us to do some of the following. Number one, wake up in the morning, and whether you meditate, whether you pray, or whether you just speak aloud to spirit or to God or whomever, I'm asking you to have that conversation in the morning when you first wake up. Have the conversation. Secondly, I'm asking you to look at more positive things on your social media feed, or whatever it is that you read, or whatever it is that you watch in the morning. I'm going to ask you to refrain from the news, because sometimes morning news is not the best thing to look at. I'm asking you to set the intentions. Be intentional with what you're allowing to when you first wake up. Be intentional with what you're allowing to interact with: music, reading, people, food. Eat right. Drink water when you first wake up. Give yourself fuel. You run out the door and not eating anything, it's not good, y'all. And we're getting older. We can't handle that. Our bodies need to run off some things. So be intentional. And when you're hangry, you are not nice. You're not your best self. Nextly, stretch the body. I don't care if you just lean over to the side and bring your arm over. Stretch. Do something. Next, I would love for you to do some affirmations to say something as simple as, today is a great day. I will be great in this day. I am being great in this day. I am disciplining myself to be my best self. That no matter what comes up against me to distract me from being positive, from being influential, from being empathetic, from being productive, because being productive is very important. I have the discipline to shield myself from those things that will cause me draining or harm or distraction. Speak those things as if they are. Don't you want to be productive? Don't you want to be successful? Don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to be energetic? Don't you want to be healthy? Don't you want to be wise? Don't you want to be wealthy? Don't you want to be a contributor? You want to be something that is connected to good. So speak those things. And lastly, smile. And not because somebody told you to, but because it feels good. Look yourself in the mirror. Smile. Dress. Look nice. However your nice looks. Look nice. Look clean. Look well. And if you can't, sometimes you just got to call in, because that's what's best until you can get it together. And like I tell people all the time, whether you're working or not, baby, bills are going to come. So don't ever let that be the excuse of why you don't take care of you first. I truly appreciate you taking this time to sit and listen to me and with me. Know that in these months ahead, I am setting the attention that every month, every first of the month, you will get an episode from To Whom It May Concern's Hood Professionals. It will be on time. It will be relatable. And hopefully it will be, it will be influential. It will be something that sticks with you, that you take with you. This podcast is going to become your favorite podcast. So much so that you are going to recommend it to others, and we're going to grow together as a community. There is a new blog also associated with the podcast. It's called, you guessed it, To Whom It May Concern Hood Professionals.wordpress.com. By the time you all hear this episode, that podcast, the very first blog post will be up. I would love it if you all would go over, subscribe, or just give it a read through. Again, that's To Whom It May Concern Hood Professionals.wordpress, all one word, .com. And again, I'm going to have some things coming up. We're going to do some Zooms. We're going to get in with each other. We're going to curate this community of professionals. And we're going to get to know each other. And we're going to network. And we're going to build some beautiful things with one another. Because we deserve that. We deserve to build a community of persons where we get each other, where we can bounce ideas off each other, where we can come to each other for advice, sound advice, and it's coming from a place of experience or just good old sheer wisdom. I thank you for continuing to tune in with me. Know that it is never taken for granted that you all choose to hit that button. Thank you for every single person that has ever subscribed to this blog, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Spotify. However, wherever you're listening. I have listeners in United States, South Africa, Ireland. Hello, somebody. All over. I appreciate you and know that you are seen, you are appreciated, you are felt, you are heard. Till next time, take care of yourselves, set the intentions, stay safe, and always show up authentically. Till next time, peace.